Hey guys, it is Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com. Got a beast of a track for you today. We're going to finally learn how to play Dyers by Metallica. This has been requested for a while. It's a lot of work to get something like this together, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. Before we crack into it though, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell so you know when I release a new video. And check out my Guitar Academy. I have a free trial to my Guitar Academy going around, free 7-day trial. The link is in the description. My Guitar Academy is at GuitarLessons365.com. It's the GL365 Academy. It contains all my guitar courses, systematic guitar courses from a complete beginner course to courses on improvisation, technique, guitar tone, just you name it. We got ear training, everything. So please go over there and check it out. Free trial, can't hurt, right? So anyway, so let's jump into this. We're in standard tuning here. There is a little controversy around one of the riffs in this song, so I'm going to tackle that controversy. I'm not a big controversial person. I really don't care, but I'll give you my opinion on it, but we'll wait for that part of the video. So anyway, we're going to start here with this. That kind of just, there's a little riff right there, 2, 3, 2, 3, and then 1, 0, 1, 0. And then we have a, so it's just an open E, then first fret power chord, open E, power chord, then the third fret power chord, but you actually hold it, so it is. And then back to the E power chord, back to the first fret. And then we have a quick little open E in the first fret power chord, and then we go through basically the same chords again. We just let them ring. So we have this. So this. But now instead of just going as the ending, we double that. Okay, so and that launches us into the actual riff that we can memorize. So far we got this. All right, so after that, so here we kind of start the same way that we did just the previous riff. But we're going to now really start digging into. So it's just basically you're really kind of driving on the low E in between the chords. So and now we have the first ending, which is 1, 2, 3, then the first fret power chord. So that's the first way of ending it. So that's the first half of this riff when we got here. So we have this. All right, now the second half is the same riff, but just a different ending. So that's the ending. So instead of going, we have this. So 0, 1, 0, 1 instead of 0, 0, 0. So the whole riff together looks like this. And then now repeat all that. All right, then hit the low E and let that ring, and then we get to controversy. There's a lot of memes. There's a lot of clickbait videos about this riff. So what I have done is I've done a lot of research in this. Let me play the riff for you real quick, how I think it's actually played on the original recording, and then I'll talk about why, and then I'll prove it to you why. So here we go. All right, so that thing is a beast. Now, if we have a controversy here, whether he is playing this which a lot of people, I know people have posted videos about this stuff and all that stuff. Metallica, when they play live, they play it like that, all twos. They also have a demo of this from back in '89 where they also just play it as twos. But on the original recording, if you take the original recording and slow it down, which I'm going to do in a second for you, and listen to it at about, I've got this down to about 30% of the actual tempo. It sounds like garbage, by the way, when you slow something down that much, so it's kind of still hard to hear. But you can hear a very obvious, if you listen for it, between the notes. You actually hear the note C more apparent than you do the B a little bit in the riff. So you'll hear it, but it's going to be kind of a slower tempo, obviously. But see if you can pick it up in this little slowed down version of that main riff. All right, so hopefully you can hear that. Moral of the story, who gives a damn? If you have to slow something down to 30% of the original speed just to hear a difference anyway, who cares? Play it the easy way. That's why they do it the way live. It's a lot more difficult to time. So, live sounds fantastic. So don't worry about it. Play it whatever way you want to, but on the original recording, it is 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3 throughout the whole track. I've gone throughout the track, so it's very obvious once you slow it down, very, very slow. But it's not obvious when it's at full speed because everything is so heavily muted and it's crazy fast. So anyway, controversy over. I don't really care what anybody thinks about it. It doesn't matter to me. You play it however you want. But anyway, so if you want to play it the way it is on the album, you basically just hit the power chord and then you have to time alternate picking with 2 and 3 on the A string. I think it's probably something like the producer's like, you know what would sound really cool? If you just kind of make it sound more evil. And it's one thing to get it tracked well in the studio, but another thing to do it live. And then from there, you do a slide down from the power chord to the 3rd fret to the 2nd, open A, and then back to the power chord. So you do that 3 times. And then we slow down. Yay, we go 3-2 on the A, then 4-5 on the D. So it is. All right, now without that little kind of dissonant thing going on, we just this. Much easier, and some people would actually think it sounds better. So then we continue with the riff again. So the only thing that was different the second time through was the second time of playing the riff. we have this. Which is basically you're just kind of holding that second fret when you slide down to it a little bit. Then you open A and then back to the second fret. So we have this. All right, so now after that main riff, we go to this kind of that, you hit that open E power chord, and then 3-2 on the low E, and then back to the power chord. So do that a few times. So it's kind of quick little. Then it sounds like it goes back in the main riff, but it has a little difference. All right, so we kind of start that riff again. Then we have the open A, power chord at the second fret, back again. Up to the third fret, hit it a couple more times. And back to the 3-2-0. So we have this. So we did that kind of, got down to the low E, and then we do that again. We do that 3-2-0. Grab the E power chord up here. 3-2-0 again. To the fifth fret power chord. This is super fast in the song. 3-2-0 there. To the third fret power chord. And then to 3-2-0 again, and then we're back to the riff. All right, so basically goes back to the kind of like the same thing again, except instead of going, it just goes. Just play the chords just kind of without the having to jump down there every single time. So it's just kind of. All right, and then we're back to the same riff again. So from there, actually goes to back to the main riff of the song. And at the end, it just goes out. And it takes us to the verse where we finally get a breather. All right, so let me play through the verse now. It gets a little bit easier here. It sounds like this. All right, little transition riff there at the end. So we have second fret power chord, then third, off the low E string, by the way. Over to the A power chord, and then the low E. And then you hit that low E string again, and then grab the third fret power chord real quick off the A string, and then start over. So we have this. Back to the 2, 3. Now, the second time around, though, it's a little different. So we start with the same 2, 3, and then we go to the E power chord first, then the A, and then go to the G power chord of the third fret. So we have this. And then we go to an F sharp power chord, and I was playing up here. It sounds good to play it up there, but watch him live. He's kind of doing it right here. It makes sense because you got to, instead of jumping way up, he just goes the F sharp power chord at the fourth fret there, the D, and 6th fret there on the G. Then goes to the D power chord at the 5th fret of the A string. Then the open A power chord again, and then the G power chord at the 3rd fret there. So we have all together for the verse. All right, now we have this little transition riff. which is a quick muted 3rd fret power chord of the A string. Then take it down into the 2nd fret there and let it ring. And then kind of reverse that. All right, so that little transition right there, and then we so after that, it goes back to that main riff, just kind of halfway through. There's maybe twice, play through it twice. And then back to that verse riff again. So the verse is the exact same thing that we just played. And then we have at the 1 minute and 46 second mark, we have a different transition out of that verse. So before we went, we have this instead. So that right there is just gonna be like, so muted strings, got a quick little triplet, 1, 2, 3, and then another hit. So you do that twice, so you go 1, 2, 3, hit. And then play just that 3rd fret power chord off the A string. And then we go back into the main riff again. All right, so the same main riff that we did before. And then at the 1 minute and 56 second mark, we have this a little bit different, I guess we could call this the chorus, I guess. So it sounds like this. All right, so this is at the 1 minute and 56 second marks, by the way. So we basically had this little riff, the rhythm is this. All right, so that's off the low E string, so like down, it's a quick little triplet, and then 2 hits. So this. So we do that off of low E, then up to the G power chord there off the 3rd fret, and then back down to E, and then go grab the E power chord up here, and then down to the D. And then back to the E, G, and E power chord. So and then start the rhythm over kind of the same way. Except now when you go up to the E chord, instead of go down to D, go down to the C power chord at the 3rd fret there. And then from there, just really quickly go to the B. And a quick little gallop there. So we have this. All right, so it's kind of a quick little transition there. But once again, it's one of those things you just got to really know the sound of the song really well, and you'll be able to probably follow along pretty easy. All right, now from there, we just go back to the main riff again. Same thing, same verse, same chorus, so we can kind of cut through all that stuff, thank God. And then we have the main riff again, but it's got this little different ending that it takes us into the kind of the intro version of the intro again. So we're playing the main riff, and then kind of in the middle of it, it just starts doing that. So it's the same main riff, and then you'll hear it transition, and that's what it's doing in the transition. And then it gets kind of similar to it plays like the full intro riff one time through, and then it builds into the solo rhythm by going like this. So it kind of reverses what we did before. So after you've played that intro rhythm once completely, then it does that. So just reverse that. Start with the 0 1s on the low E, and then move that to the 2 3 2 3 on the A string, and that leads us into the solo rhythm. This is at the 3 minute and 37 mark. So I'll do the solo rhythm first, and then I'll show you the actual solo itself. Okay, so even the solo rhythm is crazy. All right, so we're just starting here with a lot of just 16th note picking on the low E. We have this riff, the 2 3s on the A, the D again, slide down to the 2s, and then open A and D, and back to the 2s. So you do that 3 times. And you go back to the muted, and then you're going to end it with that right there. So you basically do all that twice. All right, now we're just going to take this up to F sharp. So everything's up basically 2 frets. So you can play the F sharp there on the 2nd fret there, and then, which is the 5s on the A and the D, slide down to 4, and then play the 2s, and then back to 4. And then instead of going this, it's just 2 frets higher than that, which is 2 3 2 3. So and then again. But it's that kind of the 4th time through. Instead, we do this. Instead of going that thing, we just do the kind of little gallop on it 4 times. And then it's sort of the verse progression, that F sharp to the G, the A to the E, that C sharp real quick, and then we're back to the same thing we were doing before with the F sharp. And then we start doing the gallop there again, but twice as long as we did before, so 8 gallops. All right, and then back to the E version of that riff. So you do that E version of the riff just once now, and then you jump to basically the end of the verse. So that's coming right at it. But now when you get to the G at the end of that verse riff, still the solo, but it's the same progression as the verse. We have this. You play those that G gallop a little bit, and you stop while Tamer starts doing his legatos, and then there's a quick little in there as well at the very end. There's that 7th fret and 5th fret off the A string, and then we're to the bridge there. So before we get to that, I'm gonna go through Kirk Hammett's solo now. So I'm gonna play through it first, and then I'll show you how to play it phrase by phrase. All right, so this thing has a few notes. Okay, so we're going to crack into this phrase by phrase here. I'm going to turn the wah pedal off because, you know, whatever. Yeah, it's kind of annoying when I'm doing a lesson. Plus, I'm not the wah master that Kirk is, or the high priestess of the wah, like Mrs. Smith. But anyway, so we're just going to turn it off. So we have here this. So that intro kind of starts out with that same kind of typical blues lick, with the bend of the 14th fret on the G string, and then 12th fret on the high E string, and then pulling off from 15 to 12 on the B. So it's that little 4-note lick, just kind of repeated to start. Whatever fingerings you want to use. And then it transitions, after doing that a few times, it goes to this. Just kind of like a 6-note lick. You're just playing 15 to 12 twice on the high E, over to 15 on the B, and then back to that 12. So I just. So I just. So do that a few times, and then we move up here, and this is kind of a stock Kirk Hammett, like. So you get to play 17 to 14 twice, over to 17 on the B, and then back to that 14. So that's the lick, and then we do it the next time, we do it with the 19 as the top note. But when he does the 19, I believe he just does it once. So we have this, you double the top 2 notes the first time. And then you play that 17 on the B, and then that 14. And then just once from 19 to 14. And then end it with the same 2 notes. So like this. So really, it goes so fast. If you want to double both of them, it sounds cool. Or and then that goes into a 22nd fret bend on the high E. So we have all together. All right, so next phrase looks like this. So that's a double stop at the 12th fret on the G and the B. You can play most harmonics. Well, it sounds pretty cool too, so you might actually be doing that. I didn't listen too close, but same notes. If you want to play most harmonics, do it like that at the 12th and the G and the B. Do the bar, pull up on the bar, or just do it with the fret the notes. And then we have this 12 on the G to 14 on the D. And then we kind of end it with this. That's hammering on 12 to 14 on the D. Go back to the 12, and then play 14, 13, 12 on the A. Shift down to the 10th fret there, so it is. Then, and kind of a bend and release at the 12th fret now. Then back down to the 10, and then pull off 10 to 12, 12 to 10, sorry. Over to 12 in the low E. So it is. All right, now it goes up to F sharp when it gets to that and that part in the rhythm. When we get to that section, we go up to this in the solo. So that moves into the, it's kind of based around just kind of simple scale shapes. Slide to the 15th fret there on the B string. And do kind of a hammer pull between from 14 to 15, back to 14. Down to 16 on the G string. And then go back up 14, 15, 17 on the B. And then kind of the same thing again, but now starting on the high E string. So we play that hammer pull between 14 to 15, over to 17 on the B, and then back up 14, 15, 17. So it is. And then you're just gonna shift up to the 19th fret there with your pinky. Play 19, 17, 15, over to 17 on the B string. So this. And then you slide into the 17th fret on the high E string. So, and what he does is he slides into 17, then pull off 15 to 14, and then pull off 15 to 14 again, and then 17, 14 on the beat. So it is. And then we kind of slide it into the 17th fret there on the B, then play 15, 14, and then back to 15, 14, 16 on the G string. So it's kind of here, from here it kind of starts being like 3-note licks. So kind of just going down the scale like 17, 15, 14, then 15, 14 over to 16 on G, and then 14 on the B, 16, 14 on the G. So it kind of starts doing this. And from there, just go 16, 14, back to the G string, 14th fret, and hammer back 14 to 16. So that whole lick. So I'll just. All right, next phrase. All right, so we've got some kind of big skips, some sixths. It's always hard to say sixths. Anyway, so slide into the 14th fret on the G string, and then grab 14 on the high E. So with this, and then 13 on the G, 12 on the high E, 11 on the G, 10 on the high E, and then 9 on the G and 9 on the high E. So with this. And then out of that we have this. So we have this. So that's going to be. You can pick 12. You can pull off to 10 and 9 just on the B, and then pull off. So that's the first 3 notes because it's a series of like 3-note licks. And then you play, which is pulling off 10 to 9 on the B, over to 11 on the G. And then we have 9 on the B string, pull off 11, 9 on the G string, over to 12 on the D. All right, from here we have this. So that, after you're here, you go up to the 14th fret and pull off 14 to 12 to 11. And then pull off, that's the first 3 notes. And now this next group is actually 4 notes. Pull off 12 to 11 on the D. And then 14, 12 on the A. So this. You can pick some of them if you want. Kind of sounds good too. Play this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then from there we go 14, 12, 11 on the A. Then 12, 11, 9 on the A string. And then so Then we pull off 11, 9 on the A, over to 12 on the low E string. So we're back to the 3s here. So we just had one little 4 in there. And then we have 9 on the A, then 12, 10 on the low E, and slide into the 14. So we have this. So out of this, all right, so there's a slight pause there, and then we have this kind of melodic theme that comes in. It sounds like this. All right, so that's gonna 9th fret there on the A string. Slide into it if you want. Then 7 on the A. Sorry, it's the A note. 7 on the D string. 6 on the G. Then do a quick hammer on from 6 to 7. Back to 6. So after that, down to 7 on the D string, the A note, sorry. And then move that down 2 frets. So that's 5th fret there on the D, and then play 4, 5, hammer onto that 7, back down to 5, 4. So out of this. Then move that same thing you just did up 2 frets. So pretty simple there. And then from here we're going to do a little ending on it. So we play a 7 again, then a quick hammer and pull from 6 onto 7, pull back off to 6, and then just play 9, 7, 5, 4 on the D. So we're this. Here we start this kind of legato lick that goes up the D string. All right, so that's pretty easy to understand. It's just you're kind of start with, you're always going to be using the open D string there as a pedal. So the lick is really kind of like play 4, hammer on 4, just out of nowhere, you don't have to pick it. And then hammer 5, pull back off the 4, and then pull off to the open D string. Sometimes I like to take a, but really it's just, he's got it so drenched in wah, it doesn't really matter. So you're kind of doing that lick. Now, if you really want a little tip here, you can place the pick on the A string and then place your middle finger on the G string. And then you don't really run the risk of hitting those 2 strings around it while you're doing this kind of crazy legato stuff on the D string. So it's a good way to kind of keep it quiet. So I'm just kind of, even if I miss and hit those strings, it doesn't matter, you won't hear them. So now you just kind of continue this lick, going to the open D string, but just changing the notes above it. So now it's going to be 5, 7, and then 7, 9, and then 9, 11, and then 12, 11, and 12. So let's see, the last one's a little bit shorter. And then grab the 16th fret real quick on the D string. And then we go into this little, kind of sets up this next section. It goes back down to E. And we have this where he's kind of doing licks like this next phrase. So really what that is he's repeating between 17 and 12 on the high E string. And he's, after every, like, sounds like every like 3 or 4 of them, he goes down to the, he does that kind of 4-note lick we did earlier a little bit, which is 17 to 12 on the high E, but then 15 on the B, then back to that 12 on the high E string. Then what you're going to want to do is we go up to the 19th and 15th fret here on the high E string. And what he's going between those two, but he's not hitting the set. Then he hit the 17th fret there on the B. He's hitting the open high E string in there. It's kind of a thing you've heard him doing. He does this in like the Inner Sandman. So it's funny to compare Inner Sandman to this song. It's a completely different type of song. But typically when he does that lick, he's not grabbing that E note on the B string there at the 17th fret. He's playing the open high E. But he's mostly just going between 19 and 15 and throw that E in there every once in a while. And then into that bend at the 22nd fret again like we did earlier. Then we start that kind of phrase again. But it's a little bit different. It sounds like this. The kind of melodic thing. Save the best for last there. I won't do that legato lick yet. All right, so we're gonna. So that starts the same way that we did before for the previous time we played this melodic theme. But from here, instead of going, it goes. Which is just sliding into 10 on the B, then 8, 7, then 9, 7, 6 on the G. All right, then over to 9 on the D, back to 6 on the G, and then 9, 7, 9 on the D. So with this. And then back down to 7. So just kind of mess around with just a few notes. And then we start this little ascending kind of tremolo picked thing. We're playing 5, 7, 9 on the D string, so kind of tremolo pick each one of those, kind of muted too. Then 5, 7, 9 on the G, and then 7, 8 on the B. When you get that 8, you don't have to tremolo pick anymore. And then we get the legato lick that ends the solo. All right, fun stuff. So what we're doing here, we're starting on the B string. We're going to play 8, hammer 10, pull off to 8, and then pull off to the open B. So once again, you can kind of mute the strings around it. And then you're going to do the same thing, but just with between 7 and 8. So it's the same little 4-note lick. So that's the pattern. You start hammering on the note with your index finger, then hammer on the next note, pull off, and then pull off to the open. So you do the same thing, but with these two notes, 7 and 8 on the B, and then 5 and 7, then 3 and 5. Then we'll take it over to the G string, so you're going to have to adjust what you're muting down here, and then. So that's going to be. Come on. So you're going to be hammering the same lick though, 4-note lick. So between 5 and 4 on the G, we're pulling off to the open G, then 5-7, then 7-9, and 9-11. And then we're back to the rhythms out of the solo. So it's a crazy solo, got some really cool stuff in it. But hopefully now you kind of get a good idea of what he's doing, and you can rock out with it. All right, so now we have this really killer riff, which is, I guess, the bridge of the song that comes out of the solo. Songs like this. All right, so this riff has got kind of like a quick little hit on the low E, and then a quick triplet, little gallop, and then a couple, then another hit after it, kind of just quick downstroke. So we have this. So, and then we have this. So that's the 3's on the A and the D string together. Slide down to 2. The open A and the D, and then back to the 2. So do that a few times. And then at the end, we have this quick note like we did earlier. 0, open low E straight into the first fret power chord. Kind of ends the riff the first time. So wait this. And then back to the riff again, but the second time you play it, kind of like that main riff, there's that little kind of pause in it. So, so the timing of it is when you do that slide down, then the open strings, when you come back and hit the 2, it's back on the beat where we first were starting. So it kind of replaces that first down hit there when you're starting the riff over again. So and then there's a quick little, the ending there is not, as before, it's just hitting the one kind of staccato, the first fret power chord a couple times. So we had this all together. All right, so that's really the riff, and then it starts over. Oh, sorry, there's no pause there. Right here. And then, so the second time you're ending it, you end it with the same ending that you did the first and third time, because it goes into this. So these are riffs that we've covered before. So we have this. So we kind of have this E string and then a quick 3-2, and then back to the E power chord. So and do that again, and then we have that thing that we had earlier, which is just the 3-2-0. And then we have a quick little gallop. It's a really kind of confusing part of the song. And then back to that same riff. That takes us back to the verse. So that little section right there, there are things that we covered earlier, but it's also one of those things that where you just have to know the sound of the song very well, have it very well memorized to be able to know how many times to do everything. So it's kind of up to you there really to kind of get it nailed down exactly what we're doing. just by ear. You just have to know the song very well. But the riffs are just the riffs that we played earlier. All right, so then we go back into the verse section. Same thing. And then it gets to the outro section, which is a little bit different than before. All right, so that's kind of like the intro of the song real quick. Well, we start with that same little, so that rhythm that we did earlier that went into that C chord we covered before. And then instead of going to that main riff, we just go. So that 2-3, 2-3 a couple times, and 1-0, and then we're back to the kind of intro riff. And then it kind of just ends, kind of right there, just ends abruptly. All right, so it is a beast of a track. I get it. There's a lot of stuff going on, and really, it's kind of the rhythms are harder to get together than the solo is. Just not that they're harder to play, they're just harder to memorize. So you got to really know the sound of it. So before you start cracking into it, you might just want to listen to the track about 20 times in a row, even if you feel like you know it, just so you can just literally hum every single riff, and then come back here and just learn where to put your fingers. And that's probably the easiest way to do it. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed it, man. It's a beast of a song. It was a lot of fun taking a crack at it, and I'll see you guys again soon for Guitar Lessons 365 and the GL365 Academy.